Today we're making fun of Tesla. Cybertrucks are flying apart.
I mean, we knew this thing was a piece of junk from the day it was first unveiled. Isn't it the one that Whistling Diesel, he pulled off some panel in his video and he was like, it's just glued on.
Tesla car fails Wile Coyote test.
The fact is, the LiDAR car saw the wall and knew it was a wall, and the Tesla car did not see the wall until it was too late.
Hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Eplex Media. We talk about tech news and science news and whatever tech and science stuff we feel like talking about. I am historian Matt, and I am the co-producer and co-host on this show. My other co-host will introduce himself for his segment when we get to it, but for now, I'll jump into my stories. I got 2 stories, and today we're making fun of Tesla. So let's make a fun of Tesla day. But and to start off with, we're going to go with Cybertrucks are flying apart. They're just flying all over the place, apart in pieces, and yeah, not really. Okay. So basically every Cybertruck ever sold is being recalled due to an exterior panel that can potentially fly off while driving, which is a little bit worrisome. The panel could become a road hazard because it's a solid piece of metal. So, the exterior of the Cybertruck has those metal panels that are supposed to be thicker than panels that are on regular cars. So this is a serious piece of metal that could fly off. Potentially more than 46,000 vehicles could need to be fixed. This can't be fixed by software update, which is, a lot of older Tesla recalls have been just software update. The trucks must be fixed at a Tesla service center. The fix will be covered by Tesla at no charge. Currently, the panel is attached with glue. The fix includes a stud that's welded to the panel and a nut that clamps the panel to the vehicle structure so it won't fly off in the future. Cybertrucks are currently being built, and future Cybertrucks will include the fix, but everything that's been sold so far basically has to be recalled. What do you think?
I mean, we knew this thing was a piece of junk from the day it was first unveiled. Tesla has been famous for not having the best quality assurance standards. And then this thing has to be built in such a weird way for like a car. Like it's very unusual to build a car with a steel panel body, and like especially with an aluminum frame too. So like, yeah, the fact that they were just like gluing on steel panels poorly doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they didn't actually have like some sort of nut or rivet holding it onto the truck, and that it was just glued. Because of course glues, like, they eventually fail over time, but apparently this whatever glue they were using was particularly bad and failing pretty quickly. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I didn't mention which panel it is. It's this, I did see a picture of it. It's this like side panel that's right next to the front windshield. So it runs along the front windshield, and, part of the driver's side window, kind of that pillar in between. It's that panel that kind of, I guess, can, I don't know if it's both sides or just one side, but that can fly off when the glue fails.
Isn't it the one that Whistling Diesel, he pulled off some panel in his video and he was like, it's just glued on. I think it was that one, right?
I don't know if it was that one. The one that I saw before was somebody like pulled off the side panel that's back by the bed of the truck, which is a much bigger panel. And they're like, so I don't know if that's the one you're referring to or not. I wouldn't be surprised if that one's also glued on.
It's like the one that runs along, like above the windows, in between the windows and the roof and the windshield.
Well, it's between the front windshields. It's not really the roof. Yeah. Okay. Front windshield and kind of like where the door window, and there's like a little front window at the front. It's like that little corner, that edge there.
There might be a lot more panels that are glued on than we know.
Maybe. But you'd think like at least the bigger ones I would hope would be riveted or, something, or bolted on or something. But maybe not.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if most of the Cybertruck is just glued together. I know that it's not. They're a lot of it is bolted on. But like, for these big metal frame pieces, or not frame pieces, body pieces, the fact is those are hitting the wind as you drive. So like those absolutely should not be glued on. And the term that Tesla used in the recall is like glue that's susceptible to environmental embrittlement or something. I can't remember exactly how they put it.
Degradation or something like that.
But it's like,
but same thing.
This car is marketed as, a car that's supposed to be like the most rugged car that can survive like any terrain. Elon famously said something about it driving on Mars or something, and I think he also said it could drive through water, something like that.
Yeah, it could act like a boat for a period of time. Which I don't know if anybody actually tried that.
It's like all of that is untrue. It's like the most brittle car. It tends to explode. Like pieces are falling off.
It doesn't really explode, but it does set itself on fire. Apparently, it's most likely of Tesla's cars to catch on fire.
Yeah. And it's like more likely than the Ford Pinto to catch on fire.
Yeah.
But it's like this thing is just a big piece of plastic, like cheap plastic with an aluminum frame and like some shiny steel panels glued onto the outside to make it look, rugged. It's not actually rugged. Yeah. And I can't believe that like so many people didn't know that Elon Musk is a liar, and like they took everything that he said at face value.
Well,
it's crazy to me.
Is the Cybertruck not your favorite truck ever? I thought you really wanted one.
I wouldn't say it's my least favorite truck. Like off the top of my head, I can't think of one that's like worse. But like, I'm sure if I truly thought about it, I probably could. But like, of all the trucks that are like currently mass marketed trucks, it's like the worst at being a truck.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna buy a truck, you want a truck, like a truck that does truck things, And this Cybertruck cannot do truck things. Like it's bad at towing. It's bad at like allowing you to put stuff into the bed of the truck. The bed of the truck itself is pretty bad. Like it blocks, when the tonneau covers down, it blocks your rear view. So you have to use a camera. And then like you can't see things through the camera when you're backing up. So you like tend to just hit things as you're backing up because it has like no proximity sensors. So it's like, it's just all around a really bad truck. I should be clear. You can tow with it. You just shouldn't, because the frame is made of aluminum and the frame will eventually snap. And like the thing you want in a truck is a frame that doesn't snap. That's like the most important thing.
Well, we didn't cover it, but there was like somebody who did testing on the Cybertruck, right? And he overloaded the towing capacity because it's a stress testing kind of thing that people do. And it snapped the something on the back. It wasn't the hitch itself. It was the frame.
That was jerry rig everything, and it snapped the entire frame. Like the back frame, like the back part of the frame that holds the tow hitch, that should be the strongest part of the vehicle. Strongest as in like it shouldn't snap. That's why we build truck frames out of steel, because steel doesn't snap in half. Steel bends. And when you put like an excessive tongue weight on a truck, if you exceed the tongue weight, you don't want the frame of the truck and like the tow hitch to just snap off. It wouldn't be quite as bad if it was just the tow hitch that snapped off, but it's the entire back of the frame, meaning the part that you put the safety chains onto, like the chains that are there to protect you in case the tow hitch somehow like loses the ability to hold your trailer. Like the chains that are there to protect you in that case are connected to the part that snaps off on the Cybertruck. So like just the entire thing snaps off. Your whatever you're towing is just now completely disconnected from your Cybertruck when that happens.
And then you have a massive repair bill if you decide to do that. Because I mean, if your frame is snapped, it's a serious problem.
I mean, it's just aluminum. You could probably just
probably weld it back together.
Yeah, melt down some soda cans and weld it back together with those. Yeah. But yeah, like it's mind-boggling to me, the idea of building a truck frame out of aluminum. It's so dumb. Like, there is a reason that no one does that, and I don't think the Tesla engineers understood that reason, because like they've never made a truck before, right? This is their first truck, so like I guess they just didn't know why you use steel in a truck frame. That's also, like, for example, why backhoes aren't made out of aluminum, or why like cranes aren't made out of aluminum. Like, you don't make these kinds of things out of aluminum, because when you stress them beyond their designed point, their design limits, they're not supposed to fail by snapping. They're supposed to fail by bending.
At least bending first, so you can tell that there's a problem, right?
Yeah, like that is a failure point. If you have a bent frame, you shouldn't be towing. You can. Like, it's very unlikely that even if you bend the frame of your truck, it's going to like snap in half when it has a steel frame. But like, aluminum doesn't fail by bending. It fails by breaking, and that's like the opposite of what you want to happen to a truck frame. So it seems astoundingly short-sighted to build a truck frame out of aluminum to me.
I'll go on to my next Tesla bashing story, and that's the Tesla car fails Wile Coyote test. What am I talking about? Well, this was big news recently, even bigger than the parts flying off the Cybertruck. But over the weekend, Mark Rober posted a video of his test of a couple of vehicles, including one Tesla. The test was the Wile Coyote test, where he painted a view of the road continuing, like, so the road like continues off. It's a painting on a wall. So kind of you're standing on the road. It looks like the road continues into the wall, even though it's just a painting. The wall was mostly made of foam and didn't really hurt the vehicle much, but it was there. The idea was to test Tesla's use of cameras instead of LiDAR for self-driving. While the painted image looked pretty good, it would not fool any human driver. It's pretty obvious that it was just a painting on a wall. The vehicle with the LiDAR system that they tested was not fooled and stopped well before hitting the wall. And of course, the Tesla drove right through it. Now, there's some caveats on this, and some people are kind of complaining about the test, but specifically, the Tesla was in autopilot mode, not FSD. So FSD is a full self-driving mode, and that is the one that's touted all the time by Tesla, that it could just, you put in your destination and it takes you the whole way. Autopilot is more of an advanced cruise control, and it uses some stuff that's similar to FSD, but it is not FSD. The autopilot was engaged only a few seconds before, and actually disengaged right before hitting the wall. So this is probably just a limitation of the test, but they only had so much runway, and so when they had to get the car, I guess they got the car up to speed and then engaged the autopilot and then let it go. And then we know that autopilot, this has been proved in the past before, I think it also includes FSD, will disengage if an imminent wreck is about to occur. This was a big issue because in the past, like, people noticed this and they were like, I don't know if Tesla actually tried to do this, but people were thinking that it disengaged because Tesla was going to try and claim that autopilot was not, or FSD was not engaged for the wreck. So it's not autopilot or FSD's, but that's so well known now, they can't really claim that. So I'm not sure if that, there may be some other reason why that's happening. It just gets confused, or it sees sees that a wreck is about to happen, so it just kind of freaks out and shuts down or something. Also, the Mark Rober posted an edited video initially, so it wasn't clear for people who were looking at the test and trying to figure out what was going on could really use it. But later, a raw video was released later for people to check it out and get a better idea of what really happened. And then finally, the biggest complaint is that it was SpawnCon, as somebody called it. So it's sponsored content. Basically, the whole video, and I did watch the whole video, was sponsored content for a LiDAR company where they're testing this LiDAR that they had, one that was included on a car, and trying to show how it was better than just using cameras. And of course, it worked, but sponsored content means it was paid for by LiDAR people. So yeah, what do you think?
So I feel like you can make all the excuses you want for, anything, whatever Tesla fanboys want to make excuses for this. But the fact is, the LiDAR car saw the wall and knew it was a wall, and the Tesla car did not see the wall until it was too late.
Did not realize
Didn't see,
it was a wall.
it saw what a human sees, but it interpreted it as there's no wall there.
Yeah, the LiDAR was not fooled at all because it's not using regular lights. The light that it was outputting reflected directly back, and it just saw a wall. It never saw anything else. But Tesla is notorious for using all cameras, so just regular off-the-shelf kind of cameras that you'd expect from other places. I mean, it's sort of like the stuff you'd find in your cell phone or something. But the problem with that is that's prone to optical illusion. Now, this is kind of silly. I don't think anybody's going to paint a Wile E. Coyote road continues on kind of thing on a wall anywhere. But it could happen, but it's not very likely.
I mean,
realistic.
That particular part of the video is unlikely, but there are other parts of the video that didn't get as much headlines, and that's that the Tesla car drove right into a kid who was like a mannequin of a kid who was surrounded by fog, and the LiDAR car didn't. And same with heavy rain.
Didn't the Tesla also hit the kid without the fog? It may have been just like...
No. When there was nothing obscuring it, the Tesla car stopped. And when it was just bright lights behind the kid, the mannequin, the Tesla car stopped. It was only when it was under foggy conditions, rainy conditions, the wall, and then I think there was another one, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, those are the ones that I remember where LiDAR didn't fail any single test, and the Tesla failed multiple tests. And it's just another example of like Tesla trying to save money by making an inferior product. The reason that they don't use LiDAR is because cameras are cheap. And the reason that the Cybertruck has an aluminum frame is because aluminum is cheap. The problem is people will die because of those corner cuttings.
Well, to be fair on the Cybertruck, the aluminum is both cheap and light. And that's one of the other big reasons they use is the lightness of aluminum.
Yeah, that's true. That frame is real thin, like extra tiny thin. Imagine a truck frame that's just like barely thicker than paper. Horrifying.
That's crazy.
But yeah, people already have died because of the Tesla autopilot. More people will die because of these like horrible decisions that Tesla is making. And what are we going to do now? Because it's not like we can hold Tesla accountable. Elon Musk is like the de facto president of the United States. So like, I guess the only thing we can do as normal people is like absolutely do not buy a Tesla.
Yeah. I don't know. Full disclosure, I own a Tesla, but I got it before, and it's not a Cybertruck. And I got it before we realized that Elon Musk, or at least I realized that Elon Musk was crazy. I need to get that sticker I know to put on the back of my car.
I do not own a Tesla. I don't own any Tesla stock. I don't own any automaker stock. My wife and I drive an electric car, but it's a Chevy, not a Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would be strongly thinking about getting a different car, but I'm not in a position to do that right now.
Yeah.
So
I'm
stuck with it for now. I mean, I like it otherwise, but...
the thing is, if you don't use autopilot or full self-driving, quote unquote, then it is a safe car. Not the Cybertruck, but the other cars that they've made, the ones that Elon didn't design, are actually safe.
Yeah.
As long as you don't let it drive itself, because that's when a lot of bad things happen.
It's very unsafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have used the autopilot a couple times, but I do not use it regularly. It's usually just on long distance trips where, it's advanced cruise control, right?
Well, I hope you're paying very close attention to what it's doing.
But I do not have full self-driving. You have to pay extra for full self-driving. I did not do that, and I don't see any reason to do that.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, like, the reason that Elon Musk uses to justify using just regular cameras as opposed to like LiDAR is he says that, well, humans drive with just visible light, so a car can drive with just visible light. And the thing is, like, that's true that humans do drive with just visible light, but we're also not super great drivers. Like, we can't see through the rain, we can't see through the fog, we can't see through the snow. We can tell when we're about to hit a wall, so I'll give us that.
It's one thing.
But, a camera is only going to be able to see what a human sees. And these other cars that use LiDAR, it's not like they just use LiDAR. They use both, usually. Yeah. Waymo uses both. I don't know about other manufacturers. But they use visible light cameras and LiDAR, which means they have more information than you and I do. Like when I drive, I can't emit lasers out of my eyes and time how long it takes for them to bounce back at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to rely on just visible light, and that's not a good thing. That's not what you should be aiming for.
Yeah. It seems like the LiDAR, just in its ability to see better, would make the car a better driver than most human. Just on that alone. The people were complaining that one of the problems with this particular test is they used autopilot instead of FSD, and I talked about that a little bit. But one of the things they were trying to say is FSD is in active development. Like autopilot hasn't been updated in a long time, so FSD has been active in development and should be better at detecting stuff. But I would think that both autopilot and FSD would use the same detection software, right? You'd have the detection and then not planning, detection and prediction. So detection is, do you detect with objects in the road in front of you or around you, all the objects around you basically. And then prediction is predicting where they're going, what are they going to do next kind of thing. But which is basically objects in motion are going to continue in that same direction, right? And continue motion. That sort of thing. It seems like those would be the same for both FSD and autopilot. I mean, they may be programmed separately, but it wouldn't make sense to make that separate, right? Because those would be useful and used for both.
Yeah, why would you be running two different computer vision models for them? Yeah,
it doesn't make a lot of sense. I've never worked at Tesla. I've never worked on self-driving cars, although I almost got a chance to do that. So I don't really know, but just based on what I know about just from reading it online, that and as a software engineer separately, that seems to make sense.
Yeah, that is a very strange argument. If autopilot isn't safe, then they shouldn't include it in the car, right? That shouldn't be an option. I watched a video from Philip DeFranco where he was interviewing Mark Rober about this, and something that Mark Rober said, some other people also complained that it looked like there were two different takes. Yeah. And Mark explained that, yes, there were two different takes, and the Tesla failed both times. It failed to stop for the wall both times. Yeah, so the reason they did a second take is because the first time there wasn't any foam behind the screen. It was just a big, painted sheet of fabric painted to look like a road. And when the Tesla drove through it, it just looked like it driving through a piece of fabric. So it wasn't very visually stunning. So they put this foam wall behind it so the foam could shatter into a bunch of pieces. But they even gave it 2 tries and it failed both times.
Yep.
But another thing is he also said that the reason he wasn't using full self-driving mode is because you have to put in an address, a destination address for full self-driving. You can't just engage it.
That's what I thought. I did not see that interview. That would make sense to me, because he kind of seemed like he was out in the middle of nowhere, which makes sense for a test like this. You wouldn't want to be anywhere that could be dangerous and other people around. Putting in an address would not work. But I don't know if you can you put in a lat long, because that might have worked.
I don't know. You're the one who drives the Tesla.
Good point. But I don't have FSD. So.
Oh, good. Thank you for checking out How the Tech Are You? We do this show every week and put it up in multiple installments on YouTube, just like your multiple installments on your burrito. Check out our other episodes. Check out our other shows. You can do that on echoplexmedia.com. If you'd like to support us, you can do that at eplex.store or patreon.com/echoplex. And there should be another video for you to check out right around here on your screen. Have a great tech and week.